Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today on the last part of the Beltline Trail series. Today I'm a little bit north of Governor's Road or Governor's Road Bridge, and we're going to head down to Bayview Avenue. This is the last portion of the Beltline Trail, and I'm really glad you've joined me for this whole walk. So let's go. So this last portion of the Beltline Trail, we are heading southeast, and I've slowly been walking downhill this whole way. We're following a small creek to the right. Sometimes it's on the left, depends how it meanders, called Mud Creek. Normally it's pretty quiet on this trail, but I do see some construction fencing potentially. I do hear some construction, so let's see what's up ahead here. So doing something up here. I can't quite see what they're up to yet. Oh yeah. Oh, looks like they're doing some construction and repairs to the bridge. We just crossed under Governor Road Bridge, which is pretty high above us. I read it's 90 meters above us. I'm gonna turn around and show you. I don't know if you can see it. Make sure I'm not in anyone's way here. Yeah, if you look basically straight up, you can see they're doing some repairs. Apparently that bridge was originally built in the 1920s. So maybe the trail isn't as peaceful as it normally would be today. Construction on this trail doesn't happen very often. And at least we can still use it. All right, looks like more construction fencing up ahead. Let's see what all this says here, if it's going to divert us or we can bypass it here. Let's see what it says. Okay, so it looks like we can still go through. Let's see what they're up to. There we go, they're doing some flood restoration. So the city of Toronto has slowly been doing flood restoration. A lot of these creeks, small creeks, have either been channelized, so the sides of the banks are now like concrete and it's just like a concrete channel and it shoots the water through, or they've been filled in. And the problem is the water still needs to go somewhere, and so what happens is it ends up flooding somewhere else. The cities are starting to realize this, that putting all these like concrete banks has made things worse because the water just rushes through to the end of the river and it floods the end point. A lot of times now what they're doing is they're actually adding in lots of like curves and bends and stuff to like slow the water down, especially in the spring, and it helps prevent flooding. I think we forget when we live in the city how much water has to flow through, especially in Toronto, because we have Lake Ontario to the south, and all these like creeks and rivers and streams have to flow from the north down to the south through Toronto. So maybe not as pretty as it normally would be with the construction fence. And the trail gets a little more narrow through here. Still pretty flat, pretty even. We are making our way south, slowly, and downhill towards Bayview Avenue and Evergreen Brickworks. I'm actually going to stop here and adjust my microphone for a sec. Bear with me, everyone. All right, thanks everyone for that little interruption as I changed my microphone. Hopefully you heard me for the first little bit. If anything, you probably heard lots of construction noise, that's for sure. Like I said, normally it's not under construction, but sometimes maintenance has to be done. So it's maybe not as pretty and as nice as it normally would be with the construction fencing. So not as much overhead shade on this part here, which is both good and bad. It's good because if it does rain, it dries up pretty quickly, but on hot summer days, you get no shade. Unfortunately, we're walking into the sun right now. So the Boatline Trail has lots of access points. Here again is another trail you could probably take down from the neighborhood above. We're walking through the Moore Park neighborhood, but like I said in my previous video, we're walking down in a ravine. So we're down below the neighborhoods, and there's quite a bit of buffer between our path we're walking on and where the neighborhoods start. So it generally tends to be more quiet on this trail in terms of like not hearing traffic, and it feels more natural, like we are walking through a forest. And because of that, because there's just more buffer zone green space on either side of the path, there's a lot more wildlife on this part of the trail. Maybe not today because they'd be fenced out.
Yes, you're gonna lose that 6 days.
So as we've walked this whole series from Caledonia to eventually Bayview, we've been slowly going downhill the whole time. This last part in Moore Park Ravine is definitely the most downhill. The path is also probably the worst in terms of if you have a mobility issue or you're in a wheelchair. I don't think you could do this part, or maybe you could only do sections because there's parts of it that are just not very well packed. There's like potholes. There's like one part where it's an uphill and a downhill. There's a steep downhill from Moore Road into this ravine. And you can see it rained here the other day and it does get muddy. So again, just be prepared. You can see it's muddy here. The trail is not maintained. It is what it is. So I can't remember when it rained here last, maybe a couple days ago, and it's still muddy. So just keep that in mind. And again, now we're in shade and the trail is a little muddy because it's not getting direct sunlight to dry it up. So I can tell we're getting closer to Bayview Avenue because I can actually hear it now. Once you get to Bayview, the Beltline Trail essentially ends, but it's not the end of the trail system. You have two options. Well, you have more than two options, but the two main options is you can go left through Evergreen Brickworks and take the Don Valley Trail, or all the series and networks of Don Valley trails, or you can go right and it takes you back. Well, actually, you can go right and go two ways. You can go right and go down Bayview, down to downtown Toronto, or you can go more right and take this trail that takes you up Mount Pleasant back up to St. Clair. So I will say Toronto has a great network of trails here that lets you walk through the city in a pretty natural environment. Evergreen Brickworks does have a dog park. I can hear dogs barking right now. And we have a defunct railway system to thank for having this great trail. And we also have to thank the City of Toronto for advocating to make this a trail system, as especially through the richer neighborhoods, homeowners wanted that added to their property, and the City of Toronto fought back to make it a trail. So this part of the trail seems a little quieter. There's not as many access points, especially now with the construction fence. But again, even with the construction fence, it's still pretty nice. Some muddy spots here. Some more muddy spots. Try and stick to the left here. Again, from here, the end of the Beltline, there's still many options. You could literally circle around the city on the trail system. Or you can head up the Don Valley. It's really great that they do have so many options, and you can walk, you can run, you can bike. I think it's great when a city has green spaces for people to get away on. Okay, it looks like it gets a little narrow here. They've blocked off a bunch for their construction work. I think I hear someone behind me. Yeah, so here we are. If you go left, you're going to go to Evergreen Brickworks. If you go right, which I'm going to do, We're gonna follow along Bayview here, and this is where they have the option where you can go up Mount Pleasant and make your way back up to St. Clair, or I believe there's another trail that takes you into the Moore Park neighborhood, or you can follow Bayview down to downtown. So we'll follow this as far as Bayview, and that's probably where I will end the video today. You can see this is probably the narrowest path we've been on so far, other than the construction back there. So you just got to be a little mindful that people are coming and going. There might be people on bikes behind you. So again, when the path is narrow, stick to the right and just be aware of what's happening. Oh, excuse me.
Oh.
Yep, thanks guys. Yep, there's a bike behind me. I can hear him. And here we go. This is Bayview Avenue. Kind of a stark difference. You come out from a nice peaceful walk to a busy roadway. I'm just going to walk up ahead a little bit. And I think this is the official end of the Beltline Trail. So this is where I'm going to end my video today, and I guess end the series for the Beltline. Thanks again for walking with me. The whole trail was 9 kilometers. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get out and you walk it, or if you're not able to get out and walk it, you were able to enjoy the video and experience how great it is to have this path accessible. Put in the comments if there is other trails you want me to walk. I plan on continuing this trail, and my goal is to walk all the trail systems here in Toronto so that you can see what they look like, hopefully get out and walk them yourselves, or if you can't get out and walk them yourselves, you get to experience them and enjoy them as well. Thanks again for joining me. I really appreciate it, and like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks again. Bye.